It is indeed a great afternoon, and we are extremely blessed to have this kind of webinar session. Welcome to everybody. And my name is Johnson. I'm going to be the host for today. Welcome everybody to this webinar. I am indeed happy and blessed to welcome architect SD Sharma, the brain behind Chandigarh, the master architect in this web series that we have started from Lovely Professional University, Lovely School of Architecture and Design, along with A3 Foundation,
in association with Archistudent, a free portal for budding architects.
that is called as Meet the Master. This is going to be first in many of the series that's going to be following us. And I am indeed delighted and happy and blessed in welcoming architect SD Sharma. Sir, welcome, sir. I am also honored in welcoming architect Sangeet Sharma, the son of architect SD Sharma. Welcome, sir. And I am proud to welcome my HOD, my faculty members, and of course, students and faculty from other universities as well. Welcome to Lovely School of Architecture and Design, and welcome to this webinar that is organized by us and helped by A3 Foundation. I hope we will have a great lecture ahead of us, and we will have a great time ahead of us learning. And this 1 hour will not be a waste because we are indeed meeting the master. Anyway, thank you for this, sir, and I give this time to you. Please enlighten us.
Okay. Well, the subject profundity of life and architecture is a little queer because profundity is not very much used. This profundity, it appears as if it's by mistake profundity. But profundity is no word in the dictionary, and it is only taken as profound. So profundity and profound have the same meaning. Now, we will all agree that it is only life which can experience architecture, and it is only life which can discern subjects like ethics, aesthetics, mystic, and connotations of architecture. So, from time immemorial, life and architecture, they have been going side by side, they have traveled together and created a history. Now, it is the architecture which started right from the very beginning when the man started looking for a shelter, starting from old historic periods, from the pre-history to Gothics and Egyptian and ancient
civilization
together,
yeah.
Right up to the modernism. We are cutting through the modernism, which is a Western idea, but started by Corbusier. He was the mastermind behind the modern movement in architecture. So, when we joined Chandigarh, right in the early days, when we were very young and started in this project, Chandigarh, there were only two words talked to us. That is modernism and modular. So, this whole team of masters, Corbusier and Jeannette, and another couple very brilliant architects of England. So they were all the leaders, and they started designing the city. Corbusier's leadership was there, and modernism is the spirit of the time. It senses the consciousness of the society and develops architecture for the time, for the present, according to their own needs, not the past, because past is not to be sort of absolutely ruled out. But from the past, we can take the best of the things and remove the other. So that is the modernism. It talks about rationality, the modernism, the geometry, and mathematically perceivable things. So this was modernism. And in that, we talked about so many things. There were so many architects, those who are in the modern movement. Probably it was Siam, which was organized by Corbusier, and there was about 21 or something like that architects from all over the world. And um, John Ray, his cousin, also the associate in Chandigarh, he was the secretary over there. So uh, they talked about modernism in one of the conference, and where the whole system of modernism was described, particularly the urbanism. So uh, those decisions which was taken in that conference were applied onto the Chandigarh by Corbusier, and that is how he could plan Chandigarh in few days, they say, because Oscar Niemeyer, who was earlier given the project, his findings, his background prepared with all sort of surveys and studies was available to Corbusier, and he could do the master plan very quickly. So next, um, my profession and my career, it is in three phases. Right? One in Chandigarh, and from there I took over as Chief Architect Department of Space, ISRO, and then started my practice uh, somewhere in 1980. The question is that all these three phases have their own merits, own specific ideas, specific problems, and that's why I was very well uh, informed, and I could learn very well from these legends the intricacies of the profession. In Chandigarh, uh, I was probably the only person that when Corbusier, John Ray, everybody was there. John Ray entrusted me to do some work independently, and the CSIO, that is Central Scientific Instruments Organization project, was given to me. In that, there was almost half a sector which was to be developed. This is from 63 to 73, the phase one. Now, this is the sort of sector area, and that has to be developed. In this, the program was laboratories, workshops, housing, uh, and that sort of things. Now, these are the um, laboratories, the administration blocks, and this is the sort of guest house. This is right in the middle of the whole surrounded development of absolutely squares, rectangles, and this was the only mellowing point, which was right in the middle of the campus, so that the whole atmosphere is mellowed down, like John Ray could put his Gandhi Bhavan in the whole university area. Yeah, this is the blow up of the same. Right in front is the cafeteria, and right at the back, you see, all the projects which I did have some sort of um, thought, the core idea behind, and sometimes they were all. I'm showing you they were all rejected, and it was only with the intervening of Moshe Perry Genre that the process were got through. For example, if we see the laboratory wall, right in front, there is a horizontal thing, a band running. This was to carry all the services. And a man can walk through, maybe a little head down below, to attend to any services. And they were kept on the external side of the building so that even if there is any problem, the interior is not interfered or spoiled, and whosoever even comes to attend that, they remain outside the building. And this was somehow rejected by myself, that how can this be done and so on, till such time that the whole matter was taken to Genre. And he said, the fellow has an idea behind it, so why not permit him? And that is how it was permitted. And the building built. Similarly, the same thing happened with the cafeteria. When they said you are going more Wrightian than Corbusian by putting these circles. This was for the first time that in Chandigarh, well, till that time, the history may say, all the works done by the masters, there was no circular thing of this kind. So obviously it was rejected by my seniors, but I persisted on, pursued them. Then they said, okay, let's go to genre. We went over there, and I said, sir, this is only to mellow the environment because they are very rigid all around. And the other thing is that as the requirements go by, I have just drawn those requirements. Well, this is the toilet block, this is the kitchen block, and this is the residential block, and so on. As it comes, I kept on drawing the curves, and that is how the form came up. And John Ray again said, why don't you permit him? Because he is absolutely clear idea about the thing, and I think it does the purpose. So it was agreed finally, and the building is there. Yeah. I have explained you. On the northern side, there was some undulatory glazing, and otherwise, the requirements go around the building, like the one in elevation you have seen previously. This is how it appears from the back, and I said one requirement, second requirement, third requirement, and so on. It went on like that, and this was probably a chance that the lady with those matkas sort of go in sequence with the idea behind the cafeteria. And the next thing was the housing, and again the same problem with me. I came up with the idea that that was a time in 50s to 60s when people don't have coolers or air conditioners. I thought of that, why not give them terraces open to sky so that this can be a sort of extended area from the bedrooms so that then they can sleep under the sky. Uh, well, enjoying the stars and feeling a little fresh air. Enclosure was by the brick jali all around so that the whole thing can breathe. So again, my seniors came up. Well, we have not used any terraces anywhere. Why you are doing? I said, well, sir, there is an idea behind it, and I think it just works because these days um, there's no air conditioners, so let them have a good sleep at least, because inside they won't be able to sleep under the fan all the time. So again, now let's go to the master, and master will agree to my idea and say, no, no, let him work. He is carrying some ideas and you are trying to sort of destroying that. It's not fair. So again, it was agreed upon. And imagine these, there is the first floor and second floor, there is some sort of protruding things in front of the windows. So that the man from first floor or second floor cannot look into the courtyard on the ground floor. So that is, and it also gave me some sort of architecture, which is a little different, of course. The whole idea is different, but it went through. And later on, at many places, this was a sort of idea, socialistic that time, that why not people of the same campus can have a sense of equality. The senior people can stay on the ground floor and then the junior and still junior, and they can live in harmony. Uh, I don't know. That time it was working to begin with, but how long it worked, depending upon the administration of the campus. Anyway, this was the question is that we see the idea, because in architecture we must have a core idea and philosophize that idea and the life of our life itself. Then only architecture speaks something. You can also speak about what you have created. Otherwise, just a building that doesn't carry you long. Then there was in the same campus there was a question of faculty guest house. Now, faculty guest house mean people living there, and they have also to meet the same climate. So there are also terraces, but in a very different way. Yeah, this is what is. These are not full terraces, but side way it has only limited terraces, so that it is only to be used by single person or maybe two persons. So it need not to be that big, and these are restricted to a certain dimension. And this is how it appears. Uh, Talks of some architecture which we can say that it has some idea background. And this is how the interior of the whole thing. Even the interiors are very well lit, and the central corridor is connecting the whole area. And so the whole thing is breathing very well to mitigate the summer. Phase two, um, I spent about 10 years, and then there were no very many fresh projects. Um, and so I had a chance because this post was advertised for chief architect, Department of Space, applied for, and luckily selected. Well, this was another glorious time in my career because I have to only make scientists agree to my project. And I think I had a little comfortable time to make them agree and they could understand what I'm talking. So there was not much of an hassle, but things the way I wanted went very well. Yeah, this is uh, Vikram Sarabhai Hall. Uh, in my book published, which was forwarded by B.V. Doshi, perhaps it is in your college library. Well, you might have seen all of you. Uh, this is an interesting thing. I will talk on the plans. No, there was a program like a seminar hall, a big lecture hall, and a conference. So there were different requirements. But to my mind, I thought that the purpose is same because somebody is talking, others are listening, and so on. So why not have the same shape? So I placed the same shape, but different in their size because of the number of people to be within the area. And that is how this sort of form was conceived. The matter went to the admin because this is one very pitiable situation of our architect, our profession, that whosoever the architect may be of any stature, his program, his schemes, his idea, his project has to be okayed by some authority. And but because I have to face the scientists, and they are also exploring some new ideas in their own sphere, in their own subject, and they could well understand the new idea I'm telling them. And they happily agreed to this after some questioning. And they said, I think this scheme seems to be, and this scheme seems to be so good because here the structure, the planning, the services, they are in all one dialogue. And that is all three things creating one answer, which is absolutely appealing and workable. Now, these are some sort of shells which were used for the first time for the roofing, the triangular funicular shells. So you can see in the roofing. The picture. And so this is how it is. And that is facing the stage. And the stage was also very, very technically progressive in the sense that if I push this screen, some chalkboard will come, and if I touch this, something will happen, and some posters will come, or there will be a screen for projection, and during the night, in the evening, and this is how it is. We use the very, very frugal furniture for sitting in the outdoor under the force roof near cafeteria to have some tea there. The next thing is this master control facility in no, this is a very unique building, and these satellites and assembly center. This I'll show you on the plan because this is a sort of visual expression which you always see next. This was the sort of total campus. Um, this the very elaborate entry point, because a lot of questioning then before anybody can go, because it's all a secret area. And if the permission is going to take some time, guests will be asked to sit somewhere comfortably and things like that. This was a very elaborate entrance. Then we have an entrance here, uh, very peculiarly. There is a water tank, and underneath that, I made the entrance. Well, the question went on by the structural engineer, then finally it's okayed. And that's a whole laboratory science block. And again, I think it was in early 70s, late 69 or something, that this is the pressure transducer unit Bangalore, where for the first time again I used this prefab uh, ash used in the bricks, and then and I used sometime like this, that it was written pressure transducers unit, and for a ventilation also. So, it was little curious, a little difficult for people to take, but for scientists, they finally agreed. And I can say that people now talk of sustainability and things like that. It was early 69 when I used this material, which was all sustainable. See this pressure transducer unit written with that concrete blocks, making them turn like that. Next. Because it's hollow units, two sides. Now comes phase three. Uh, After spending again 8, 10 years, a phase came that there were no new things coming up in the department. There were always requests like that you add 2 rooms there, 3 rooms there, and only a small sheds coming up here and there. So I decided that there should be some change the way I have been looking in my career, because probably I was looking for better postures. And well, in this phase, um, it was private practice because I got some offers from America, London County Council, Caro, and so many offers. But finally, the two seniors, like Kanwinde, he told me, what will you do going outside? You have the position of chief architect, and do something for your country and for your people whom you understand very well, the traditions, the culture which you understand. Why go out? You will make me to make you to trace something, make a detail of some secrets you will have. So I decided not to go and take to my private practice. And interesting periods. I went to England where Drew, within a few days, arranged an offer of an architect to me in the London County Council. But then again, convinced her for that all. Don't worry, if you want two in reduce it, and one time will bring for you. So you do your work there. And Patwan Singh also agreed. This is the Institute of Microbial Technology. That was the first project when I started my practice. It came to me because in Australia there is Sampalwant Saini, architect, who was the head of the department there. he told the Director General that if you are looking for, why don't you contact SD Sharma? So he, with the director of the unit, came to my office and offered me to do this job. It's very strange. There was no problem, and I got the job, which was probably a starting point for my practice to go on. It was in Lucknow. This is convention center in Lucknow in the PGI area, and you can see this. There is a sketch behind. See the same thing. This is sort of proving the first sketch I did, and it is absolutely following the same sketch, same theme. Uh, it was my practice. Somehow, the architect has to have a lot of patience to pursue each time if he wants to sell his idea, which are little different. But if the ideas have some sort of theme, some sort of basic idea which can help the society, because modern architecture was that if you can enrich life of people, then it's okay. Otherwise, there's no reason for architecture to exist. So like that, uh, I used to somehow carry some ideas, whatever way it is. So right from the sketch downward, it worked. It was the roofing of the biggest auditorium. Of course, there were many other small auditoriums all around. So this is the interior of the main hall. Again, little different interior, but it's there, it's built, it's functioning. Now some interiors of the same auditorium. This is IKA Center in the PGI. So there was a tradition of using brick or concrete as a sort of versatile materials, which give you appearance, the patina, which is remarkable, which is um, unparalleled, which stays and without any maintenance, without any care. Once it is built, it is there for all times to come. So I used that concrete thing again for my own buildings. I have shown you that building of microbiology. Here also it was complete surface. Here also, and the project was, it was a small site. The whole building was coming over to a road, cantilever, and push the building behind. But because the requirements, I have to push the auditorium, operation theaters, little on cantilever area. These are the interiors of the same IK center. There were certain constraints that I should have absolutely balanced light, because bright light will create problems for the people, those who have some problem in the eyes. So that modulated light, filtered, layered, and then a lot of care that people should not get in before clearing their feet. There was a vacuum system of pulling out the mud and the dirty thing from the bottom of the shoe. And that sort of technology, because each instrument cost lakhs. So that sort of care was taken in designing this building. This is Bamboo Museum, Kuala Lumpur. And well, what Bamboo Museum can be. Should I show it? What potential bamboo has got? Because this is the chance that the museum should speak about the potential of the material. And I used it in a vertical way, horizontal way, cutting some skylights in between, which is very difficult in this material. But there is a sort of Uttaranchal Bamboo Institute. They supervise the thing. Manju, who is a specialist from Bangalore in bamboo, she sent some details, and that is how this building came up and came up very well. It's working, and it really speaks of what the potential of the bamboo material as it is, it should be, and the interiors. You can see these interiors of the same museum with the skylight there. They told me not to create a skylight because it's difficult in bamboo. I said without that it is very difficult to relate the museum because that sort of light is necessary. They had to agree. So it's there. Same interiors. Some, I think they are quite interesting for a museum. Thank you.
I guess this was something that we did not expect. The Your entire career, and we were able to relate it, and we were able to see it. We were able to understand the struggles and the work that you did, sir. It was very blessing, and it was an immense pleasure for all of us to join this. Thank you for coming, sir. In case anybody has any question, they can ask, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving the time for your, wonderful presentation. And we are hoping that this presentation will be very helpful for our budding architects like Johnson and other students, and also young professionals like us. So now, sir, I want to some basically in architecture, when we're talking about the different type of things, so we have started this meet the master architect SD Sharma, and we are asking you, sir, 9 points on which you want to I am requesting you to view about that points, and that will be very helpful for our aspiring students, upcoming budding architects and rising architects in India. So my first question, sir, please air view how you chose the architecture as a career at that time.
You are talking to an architect. It's a very, very, very different life also. The way the life is, same way my architecture has been according to that. I'm one of the shattered survivor of this partition, and I started with no resources, no backing, or no what do you call sponsors, helpers of any kind, nothing. And I don't know, when this was sort of advertised that a new city is coming up in Chandigarh. So we people from Delhi, we all applied, and somehow I could fit in on a junior level, but doesn't matter because everybody was starting actually. Even qualified people were also dropped in, and everybody was dropped in. And there was no discrimination, neither discrimination among the people nor the subjects like architecture and town planning. They two subjects were considered to be the same. Is architect who handle both, and Corbusier as an architect or a painter could create a urban urbanity for that so well, which is absolutely remarkable. It says
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So now you have you have taken your education, and right now the education. So can you view your thoughts about, sir? What about the education that time and the present time?
Well, I qualified as an architect in 1959 and then went to Italy on some Italian scholarship to do some post-graduation or something like that. And we were taught the tech, uh, urban planning those. So that was the period when we could get into the Chandigarh project. And the Chandigarh project was like a laboratory that time, where all sort of projects were being handled. The main projects, then infrastructure, the social structure, for example, the housing, then schools, health area, health facilities, and so on. Everything was being handled. So it was the greatest opportunity one can have. And working with these legends was a divine experience. I mean, it's very rare. And people, those who could get training and do something in this project, I think they are the very lucky ones.
That he's asking, besides this, so what's the difference between education at your time, which you told, and now? Is there any specific difference you're seeing? You want to say something
Yeah.
about the education now about architecture?
Well, education system is primarily the same, but depends upon faculty. I mean, I take Chandigarh Architect's Office as a school for me, and I got the best education, and the faculty members were Corbusier and Jeannette and things like that. But anyway,
Today's scenario,
other places also the faculty members like Convinde and what's name?
After during your presentation, you have already described about that. Your complete work till time is divided into three phases: phase one, phase two, and phase three. Like the creator of this universe, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. So you have already explained my third question, sir. So I think there is no need of further explanation. And my fourth question also already you already answered during the presentation, sir. How was your experience working with the Lee Corbusier and his team on the designing of Chandigarh? Because you are the only one legend architects, Indian architects who worked with Lee Corbusier exclusively on the Chandigarh. So just you share your sir. Question third and fourth already answered,
Yes.
sir. So just to share some interesting facts, interesting incidents, plays that inspire much more, that may be in different context also. Sir.
Well, when I was working with Corbusier on his building design museum and art gallery in Chandigarh, uh, people think that he was very stern, but all intellectuals have to be, because they can't waste their time doing this thing or that thing. They are absolutely focused on their destiny. And anyway, I found him very, very pleasant, very decent, and very compassionate and very kind. Particularly, he must know that the student or the fellow who's working with him can receive very well. Then only he will open up. And I have written in my book also that in between when he was working, we were together in the morning in summer, he said, well, Mr. Sharma, you want me to die. It is too hot and there's nothing to drink. So I went over and arranged some water soft drink, maybe Coke, and I asked him to take it, and he took it, and before he said anything, he said, "Yeah, do you know what it is on my table?" And before I could answer, he said, "It is my hair, and I won't give you." And he put it in his pocket because you will sell it for $100, $1,000. Sorry. So whatever. So there is a lot of things which have happened with me, and normally it doesn't.
Thank you very much, sir. So now,
Yes.
other point is that uh, uh, view your what is your view about our budding architects and young architects who engage in either in architecture education and profession. So just this is the second last questions. We combine 2 to 3 questions together: education, profession, aspiring students, budding architects, and rising architects. Sir.
Um,
Message.
uh, well, Nagender, the very subject, the profundity of because this is what is the thing taken as sort of uh, quickly these two words synonymous. Uh, the very purpose of giving this subject of profundity of life and architecture, so that the young architects today, they should understand the life as well as architecture, because they have traveled together and they have created history. So that whole study of humanity and architecture can go side by side. And that is what is important for the young students to understand, so that they can create very safe future for them. And they can, which is relevant, which is the required for the time being, because the whole thing, along with humanity, uh, the architecture also keeps on changing and changing. Good. That's all. Architecture has been naming civilizations centuries after centuries, and leaving some written record behind. And that sort of life, I want the young students to know about themselves and about their profession, knowing that the two things are together. The more profound one would be, he can create profound architecture and things like that. So for that, architect has to work. It's a very tricky subject in our profession, because it needs a lot of attention from everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. So, just I am putting the last question. What is your suggestion and advice to improve the Indian architecture education and profession as an stakeholders, as an institution? So, just give some advice and suggestion for the fraternity and the betterment of architecture and education in India.
Well, whatever I have been going to colleges, and I have seen and talked to the faculty, the thing is, uh, the faculty has to be also gear up, uh, yeah, and understand these subjects themselves, because it needs work from both sides. And I think otherwise, the whole procedure is going very well. And the only thing that whatever emphasis has to be given that should be cleared. Otherwise, I think the study, the education has to be in line with the changing things. Like these days, there is a lot of question of sustainability, the rainwater, depleting natural resources, how you can save them for the posterity. So all these are all the modern questions because time is changing and it will further change with this thing. The whole architecture will change maybe because the pattern of the life will change, and accordingly, if life changes, the architecture changes. So that's what the subject, and that is running all through what I have been talking.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. You have answered all the question. It's my pleasure on the behalf of lovely School of Architecture and Design, lovely Professional University, to speaking with you, and you have elaborately and in details always here view your thoughts about the architecture education and profession. Sir, can you allow us, because some participants uh, uh, from other states wants to ask question with you, and in that gram we have uh, architect Punit Sethi sir. uh,
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Architect Punit Sethi sir is very renowned architect in NCR region, and he is presently our chairman from Indian Institute of Architects Haryana chapter. So sir, please ask the question.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sharma. It was really very nice hearing your experiences. It's always very enlightening. I have a very small question. Presentations like these always take us down the memory lane, where we begin to see how classical architecture evolved in this country. Do you reckon that in future classical architecture will come back, or we will never be able to see classical architecture again?
No, I don't think it will ever come back.
Uh,
Modernity. Modernism. Because life will change for something different. And it won't go. But of course, as I said, even Corbusier said, that past is my master. So we should not just push aside the past, the classical part, the whole thing. We can learn a lot from that. But the modern, the time is changing for something else. So architect has to be absolutely ahead of the time and imagine the future so that they are always leading the society in some way or the other.
Thank you.
Thank you, Purit sir and Bare sir, Sharma sir. Now,
Very much.
now,
Thank you.
any question from audience? Yeah, we have one budding architect Sanchi Goyal. She's yes, Sanchi.
Uh, Good
Yeah,
afternoon,
you
sir.
asked the question. Yes, yes. She is
Good
our
afternoon.
second year Bachelor of Architecture student at Lovely School of Architecture and Design. She,
Okay.
yeah. So she want to ask the question. Yes, please go ahead,
Good
Sanchi.
afternoon, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, you ask the question, please.
Sir, my question for you is like, since you worked with Corbusier, sir, and everything, why does like every time you guys prefer to have a pastel kind of color schemes and all the like not very bright colors for the buildings?
You're asking whether they use exposed concrete, Sanchi, or they use
Yeah, so
bright.
I want to ask that all the buildings made it, whether they have like exposed materials or they have any kind of plaster or paint over them, they always used to be like in some same kind of a monochromatic kind of color scheme.
I
Expose
understand.
concrete.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Why?
Well, in my profession, and I'm working till date,
At that time,
and I say maybe winning some national competitions for a scientific setup and Bhopal. The question is that I, by myself, have used only, as I said, versatile materials which don't require any sort of maintenance.
Yes,
And
sir.
that is why I've used either brick or stone or concrete in their natural form also, not
Yes, sir.
anywhere deteriorating. So that is one way looking after the sustainability and the long-lasting life of whatever you built and whatever you construct. That is how I look at. But presently, lot many materials have come up which people are using. Lot many colors are being used, but and they are. And see, once you paint, then you open up a subject that yes, it's open to paint, and then next day somebody will come or some of maybe in the hierarchy of the same family, they will put another color. So color after color, I don't know where it will land. So best is to have materials which do not need any maintenance in the natural form, because that's also glorious.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It was, I'd like to thank architect SD Sharma and architect Sangeet Sharma for organizing. This certainly was very useful for us, and we could gain a lot of insight and into the work nature of the great master architect. Hope this will plant an inspiration in our hearts, and soon we will also be able to produce wonders like the masters did. Thank you very much for this opportunity, sir. Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir.